We are live! Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Facebook Live. Today you have both myself and Brooke. Hey, Brooke, how you doing?
Hi, everyone. Hey, Laura.
Awesome. So we've been speaking about our different pillars, and if you haven't caught up on our last lives, we spoke about energy and we've spoken about strategy. And what we'll do, just to remind everyone, is bring up on the screen our Venn diagram of the three pillars, which are energy, profitability, and strategy. And as you can see from here, that when you don't have all three working in conjunction, there are things that happen. So if you have the energy and the strategy, the two things that we've spoken about, but you don't have the profitability, that can absolutely lead to out of control expenses and mindset wobbles as well. And then if you put the three together, you have your wealth creation zone. And so today what we're going to talk about is the profitability zone. So we'll take that off the screen share and get right into profit. So what we said we would promise you in this live is to give you a clear understanding of how you can create more profit or become profitable in your business. And so in order for us to do that, let's start with what is profit and why it's such a dirty word a lot of the time. So I know that it's such a thing, isn't it, Brooke? The dirty word around profit.
Oh, it's huge. And people, like, you talk about profit and it's so many people just shut down. They're like, oh, no, I'm going to concentrate on sales. Sales, I won't, I know profit will end up just coming if I just work and concentrate on sales. But unfortunately, that is not the answer.
And when we were talking before we went live, it was really around the fact that in order for us to be profitable, let's change the word if we have to. What's the purpose? First of all, profit is the lifeblood of your business. And if you're wanting to be able to do more in your business, so grow, reach more people, have more impact, or even be able to do things, invest in things in yourself and your business to better yourself as that provider, you need profit, because if you're only breaking even, then you're not going to have money to do that. And that's when you have to find personal funds and debt comes into play, and the feelings around, our worth definitely get highlighted. And what we want to do today is speak about why profit's important and the things that you can look at and do to make this change and ensure that you're profitable. But before we jump into that, Brooke, can you talk about the fear behind profit?
Yeah, absolutely. And we see this a lot, even just businesses who are just aiming to break even, just like they don't even want to make a profit. They just like, I just get to break even. That's okay. But I think there's a lot of fear around just the word profit or understanding profit, because so often when you say, well, what's your profit? People are like, well, my tax hasn't been done, so I don't know. My accountant hasn't told me if I've made a profit, or well, I could do I can print out my profit and loss statement from my software, but I don't understand it, and I just don't want to look at it. I don't really understand what it means. So there's so much fear around actually understanding how to know if you're making profit, how to see if you're making profit, and even understanding whether that's a good thing or not. Because again, that fear comes into play with what if I make too much money as well? There's so many different underlying levels around profit and being successful and making money. But we have to start at that first level of actually understanding what profit is, how to quickly be able to understand and see if your business is making profit and if you're profitable, and being okay with understanding what the figures are. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be, you need your P&L and you need to be able to understand your balance sheet. And obviously that is definitely something that we are able to show and support you to do. But you can also make it easier, because we understand it's not everyone's zone of genius. Understanding numbers and everything, it's not your zone. So if you can find some peace and even some ease into understanding your numbers and how to find profit, understand profit, it just makes things so much easier. We just can't put our head in the sand and ignore it, is really what we're saying.
I love that. And what I will give you right now is a formula, not a long mathematical formula, but if you can prioritize profit, and if you want to rename that to be purpose, so it gives you more money to do more that's aligned with your purpose, then it is sales less your profit. So you're putting your profit aside equals expenses, which is the profit first formula, which means that you have all of your sales, you put your profit aside, whatever's left over is for your expenses, which is the complete opposite to the way we normally are taught or told how to do things, which is, well, once you have money, you spend what you can, and then hopefully as an afterthought, whatever is left over is profit. And so what I want to talk about today and what we're here to discuss is the different levers or levers that you can pull or shift or change, or that 1% that you can do to increase your profit or to start the process of understanding how things are connected. And so the 4 areas that I want to talk about are pricing, because of course, pricing is the only thing that can increase our revenue without adding more clients or more time and all of the headaches that can come there. It is looking at and being aware of what your expenses are and having really good control over them and running in a lean way that still allows you to grow. It's also having a very clear revenue goal that makes sense for you and your business, and then reverse engineering what's required from a profit perspective, from an expenses perspective, from what you need to pay the ATO, so that that's not even something you need to consider, and of course paying yourself. And then the 4th thing that I wanted to quickly jump into is the framework that you can use to ensure that you have clarity around what's going on in your business. So let's start with the first option, which is probably the easiest and quickest way to see substantial change in your business, and that is around your expenses. Mm-hmm. Now, I know that's not exciting. It's not where you go, let's jump for joy, right, Brooke?
Yeah, which is normally the issue that we have and we see our clients have, because it's not exciting. It doesn't like give you all the wonderful feelings. It does take some work, and which is often why it gets ignored. But it is also, as Laura says, one of the easiest ways to be able to increase your profit is by having a look at your expenses. The amount of clients who have recurring expenses going out of their business bank accounts that have been going on for years, and they're like, when we actually get them to sit and review what their expenses are, they're like, I don't even know what that's for. Oh, hang on a second. Oh, yeah, that I haven't used that for years. So it can just be as easy as allowing yourself that space to stop and review what's coming out of your bank account, what your expenses are, and what you actually need, as Laura says, or if you can have your lean expenses, what you actually need to make your sales, and what you've just got because it's just been there always.
Absolutely. And the thing is, subscriptions are a massive area where this happens, where we have 3 or 4 different things that do similar things, but if we spent the time to look at each of them, we could have one and pay a bit more for that one to do all of the things that we need. But let's make this super simple. When it comes to your expenses, what I would invite you to do is grab your bank statement over a certain period of time. If you want to go completely gung-ho, you can go 12 months, but even looking at the month, and get a few highlighters. The first highlighter, choose a color and highlight anything that is absolutely necessary and fundamental to your business. Those can stay, but at least you've identified what they are and you can total what that is, and you know that these expenses cannot be changed. Then in another color, you can highlight the ones that are needed but could potentially be downgraded, negotiated, turned off, paid on an annual basis, anything that's going to save you some money that gives you that flexibility. And then the third color, a different color again, are those that you have that you didn't realize you had or you definitely don't need. So from that last highlighting, you can immediately cut those expenses without looking at accounting systems, without speaking to anyone. You have that information, and that already increases your bottom line, the profit that you have. And then you have 2 other steps. You've got those that you can negotiate. So is the software right? Could you speak to the provider and ask for a payment plan or change how you work with them or whatever it is? Because that's also something we don't do. We don't talk to people. We don't communicate. We don't say, hey, I'm at this point in my business, I'm looking to make some changes, really want to be able to do this, but what's possible? Yeah. Because there's usually a lot possible, right?
Yeah.
Expenses. It's not fun. it will also bring up some mindset stuff as well. And it was really interesting. I was having a conversation with Kim on the Profit First page yesterday, and she did this expense analysis, and she realized exactly like how difficult she thought it was initially and how overwhelming it might feel to get started. But then it took an hour and a half, and she did 12 months, and the clarity that came afterwards, and then not just the clarity, the steps that you can take to make this change.
Yeah,
Anyway.
absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. And it is huge. And I think that is why it does get put off, because it is that, oh, I've got more fun things to do besides having a look at my expenses. And, I can be going and talking to clients, or I can be, facilitating this or that, whatever it is your joy in your business. It's easier to do that than look at your expenses. But if you look at, like Laura said, an hour and a half, you can be analyzing 12 months. And you might be looking at it and go, oh, well, that's only $20 a month, or only $10 a month, But when you add up that over a year, and then those multiple subscriptions or those multiple payments, and have a look at actually it's just money you're putting down the drain. You're just wasting money. And
could be going
that
to
money,
you.
that money could be going into your pocket. It can be going in to support you to create that movement, that impact that you want, not just in your business, but also in your life. Like, how much would that money change in your life, as well as change things for your business? So when I think if you look at it in that frame of mind, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be looking at my expenses to actually increase the impact that I can have in my business and in my life. That can give you a bit more of an emotional support as well, to be able to start looking at those expenses.
Absolutely. And it doesn't have to be do it all the time. It can be a big thing initially, and then if you keep on top of it, shouldn't take any time at all. Well, we've spoken about expenses, and that's something that you can do immediately and see immediate change. It's a quick win. It's motivating to do more. And so we really highly recommend that you do that. The next area that I want to talk about is pricing. Yeah. So pricing is often done, in my experience, where with no real thought. This is the number approximately that I think people will pay, is what it comes down to, which I get. I really do understand, because when you're starting out, or if you are unsure of exactly how to price something, it's easy to kind of go, well, this figure feels comfortable, which says more about your wealth level and set than anything. And when we underprice, it's actually, a lot of people don't feel comfortable and confident in what it is that you're offering, because they're like, well, what's wrong with it? Why is it so cheap? Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've seen that so often. Yeah. And even you might have even had experience of seeing someone offering something really cheap, and you've actually felt the same way. Like, that just seems a bit too good to be true. There must be something wrong with it. Maybe they're not that experienced, or maybe they don't actually know what they're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the couple of tips that I will say around pricing is, understand, if you are charging an hourly rate, what your true hourly rate is. And that's something that we can help you with, or, just looking at how much it costs on an hourly basis to run your business and pay yourself. Yeah. And that is a great starting point. There's more to it than that, but even just knowing your true hourly rate will help you to determine if something is feasible or not. So if your true hourly rate's $120 and you're trying to charge $90 for something that's an hour of your time, well, you're already going backwards. There's no profit in that. You're running at a loss. And that's just one way. There's a lot. I don't recommend pricing on cost or time, because it is about the value that you provide your clients and the transformation and the outcomes. But if you're just starting out around your pricing and you're not sure about what your true hourly rate is, that is absolutely something to look at. The other thing to consider is what profit margins or what percentage is built into that isn't just paying costs, that isn't just paying your money. It is for the business to have that additional income in there that allows you to then have that impact, to become more accessible to people, to offer scholarships, to be able to invest in a software that you otherwise wouldn't be able to afford, and those sort of things. This is what it's there for. And so pricing is really important, to be pricing correctly. And if you're underpricing, to increase your prices, because even if you lose clients, you're still usually further ahead than if you stay the same.
Yeah. And I think there's a really good point there that you made, Laura, that I just wanted to go into a bit deeper. Is a lot of people also think that profit is how much they pay themselves. If they make a profit, then they can pay themselves that. When we're talking about profit, we mean above and beyond what you're already paying yourself. So profit is, you've paid your expenses, but you've also paid yourself already. And then profit is what is left over as well. So we're not saying make sure you've got profit because that's what you're going to use to pay yourself. This is above and beyond that. And I just wanted to, make sure we have that clarification in there. We want you to make profit. You already be paying yourself and also make profit as well.
Absolutely, because the profit, and this is a great segue into the framework, in which I recommend right behind me. And, for those of you that know me, I am also the CEO of Profit First Australia. So this is something that I absolutely live and love. And that is Profit First, because it allows you to know exactly how much you can spend, exactly how much profit you can put aside, what you can pay yourself, to have money set aside for taxes for when you're making a profit, and you can pay the tax man and not be stressed about it. And so what Brooke just said in relation to the profit is on top of that. In the Profit First framework, that profit account, that account that sits there with cash profit, gets distributed to you, the owner, on a quarterly basis as a distribution, as if you would if you were in a big company. So it can be for sole traders or it could be for multi-million-dollar companies. The same premise is used. And so from that, that's above what your wage is. That's above what you pull out of the business. The profit account can also be used to pay off debt quickly. It can be put aside into a vault account so that if the worst was to happen, or you just decided you wanted to take some time off and not have to worry about revenue coming in, you have those funds sitting there that you can then utilize to continue to pay yourself, to not have to worry about your expenses, and to still have that profit set aside. So it's so, so crucial. And if you haven't looked into the Profit First framework, I highly recommend that you do. And there are blogs that we've done around the beginner's guide to Profit First. You can also just Google Profit First in Australia, and there are so many resources out there. We have Profit First professionals as well, and I'm not going to go into that. But really, the idea is to have a framework that works for you, to give you the clarity. It is to understand your pricing and price appropriately, and it is to ensure that your expenses, if you do one or any of these things, you will see an increase to your profit. It is guaranteed, and it's not as hard and scary as what we feel it is initially when we don't have that clarity. Right, Brooke?
Yeah, absolutely. And it makes it start to feel safe as well. So we want profit to feel safe. We want you to feel safe about making profit and making money and get excited. And like one of the other blocks I see people say is like, well, if I make lots of profit, then I'm going to have to pay lots of tax. Like, celebrate that. Celebrate that you're having to pay tax because you've made profit. And that's why Profit First is such an amazing framework, because you've got that money as well. You don't have to worry about that. But it's profit. Is the lifeline. It's the bloodline of your business. And if anything, just let's not ignore it. Let's actually bring it into the conversation, not make it that afterthought. Let's bring it in like Profit First does, as one of the very forefront items of our business and our money. Let's all make lots of profit.
Absolutely. And on that note, we want to leave you with one step that you can take, should you so choose, to increase your profit. And that is to either do the expense analysis that we spoke about at the beginning of this live, look at your pricing or get help with your pricing, and also be aware of what cash flow systems and frameworks you have in place. If it's just to look at the Profit First framework and set up a profit bank account and put 1% of all your income to that, get started today. It will make a difference. If you feel like you don't know exactly where you stand in your business and if you're profitable or what you need to do or which of these levers that we spoke about is priority for you, then we can absolutely help you with that. We have a profit assessment and strategy session available. They're going into the into the comments below. It is a way of us to look at your business, understand exactly what's happening, understand if you're profitable to begin with or how to increase that profit, as well as the strategies that you can take that is bespoke to you and specific to you to really see that profit and get comfortable with it and make that money and be a sustainable business, because we want you to achieve. If you're at all wanting to work with us in any other way, then or you have questions, feel free to book a curiosity call. Very happy to do that. I know Brooke and I love speaking to you all. And yeah, I think that's all from me. Brooke, did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
No, I think that's all of it. It's just, yeah, let's not ignore it any longer. Let's bring profit back. And that's what we do here, Laura Elkaslassy Co. It's like, I mean, Laura's the profit pioneer for a reason. It's because it's such an important element, and it's not to be ignored. When you come and work with us, you'll understand that it's one of our foundational pillars for a reason. Yeah.
And it's not to be worked on in isolation.
No, yeah.
There's more to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you all for being here today. And thank you, Brooke, so much. You know how much I love to talk about profit.
Yeah.
And yeah, we will catch you. I'll be jumping in at some stage unannounced to talk about things, and I'm sure Brooke will too. And until next time, have a brilliant day. And I hope that you put your profit first.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Bye.